Uh, Yoav is here despite the fact that it is almost 2 a.m. in the land of Israel, even in northern Tel Aviv. Um, Today, right now, is the fast of Gedaliah ben Achikam. Wow, Chazi is also awake. By the way, Chazi, I don't know if you noticed, you were streaming at the same time as David's Bible study. Try to avoid that, please. But there have been lots of streams on my channel. Maybe I should just not be streaming, but we were planning to stream, and we put it off and haven't been streaming much. And frankly, was listening to Ezra Klein speaking, and I was paying attention to what's going on, and the unfortunate confluence of everything. No, it happens. The unfortunate confluence of everything that is going on in the world. So, as Paul Vanderklay likes to say, religion is always, politics is now. Religion is dollars, politics is cents, and religion is climate, politics is weather. And I agree with all of that, which Ezra Klein is the voice of stupidity. I almost named this stream. By the way, anybody who wants to join and talk, I don't know how long I'm going to go, but I almost titled this "Our Intellectuals Are Idiots," and our intellectuals are idiots. Multiple things can be true at the same time, which too few people seem to be able to understand. We are living in the best of times, and we are living in the worst of times. We are living in the best of times in many, many, many ways, and the United States has never been stronger. Our lives have never been better, not least of which, thank God, we have Tylenol. And at the same time, things have not been worse because, God have mercy upon us, we have Tylenol. I don't know how much people have been paying attention. And maybe the smartest thing is to stop paying attention and not to pay as much attention to everything that's going on. But somebody who has been paying attention, somebody who actually does recognize what is going on, should recognize that in many ways we have never been closer to civil war in the United States in my lifetime. Maybe in the 60s and 70s we were closer. Maybe certainly there have been worse times. But and part of the problem that we have is with the internet and our capacity to see things which used to not be available. People are being driven mad by their capacity and their ability, and to some extent the inevitability of finding out about things that, frankly, what does it say in Ecclesiastes? He who increases knowledge increases worry, or something like that. Ecclesiastes may be a good book for this time. Job is definitely a good book for this time. What bothers me is unnecessary and stupid suffering. And unfortunately, it seems to me that we are in a time of unnecessary and stupid suffering. Maybe we will talk some about Gedaliah ben Ahikam, as Yehuda Israel likes to point out, one of the ways that you can tell who is Israel and who is not Israel is there is in Zechariah 8:19 it says, "Thus said God, the God of hosts, or the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th month, and the fast of the 10th month shall become occasions for joy and gladness, happy festivals for the house of Judah. But you must love honesty and integrity." And as he likes to point out, for us Jews, these 4 fasts are, of course, fasts which we maintain. The fast of the 7th month being today the fast for Gedaliah ben Ahikam, who was the governor of Judah. And his story is told in Jeremiah, as well as 2 Kings. Here we'll read a little bit from the Bible. In the 7th month, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, who was of royal descent, came with 10 men, and they struck down Gedaliah, and he died. They also killed the Judeans and the Chaldeans who were present with him at Mitzpah. Jeremiah 41, in the 7th month, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, who was of royal descent and one of the king's commanders, came with 10 men to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, at Mitzpah, and they ate together and there at Mitzpah. Then Ishmael, son of Netaniah, and the 10 men who were with him arose and struck down Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, with the sword, and killed him, because the king of Babylon had put him in charge of the land. Ishmael also killed all the Judeans who were with him, with Gedaliah in Mitzpah, and the Chaldean soldiers who were stationed there. Jeremiah 40, 13 through 16, Yohanan, son of Kareah, and all the army officers in the open country came to Gedaliah at Mitzpah and said to him, "Do you know the king Baalis of Ammon has sent Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, to kill you?" But Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, would not believe them. Yohanan, son of Kareah, also said secretly to Gedaliah at Mitzpah, "Let me go and strike down Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, and nobody else will know about it. Otherwise, he will kill you, and all the Judeans who have gathered about you will be dispersed, and the remnant of Judah will perish." Be a Pharisee. This is a Jewish channel, although we have a lot of Christian friends who pay attention to this channel. But the channel itself is based in Orthodox Judaism, although many of us are sadly not very good at being Jewish. So Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, we are all confused. You are welcome to join us, my dear friend. Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, was murdered, and we fast every year during the 10 days of awe to commemorate his murder. it's not the most popular fast in the world. Um, I remember when my father first found out there was a fast a week before Yom Kippur, he was quite surprised. Um, um, and many Jews are, many people are. Um, the fact is that um, the political situation in the United States is unfortunate, and if I have any capacity to see, um, and frankly, I hope that to some degree, the people who pay attention um, know that this is an area which I have studied deeply, and so I hope that what I say is not groundless. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's not groundless. Um, Studied government and law and political science and religion and um, history, and um, I think that someone with a good understanding um, of politics can understand that we are in a dangerous, um, in a risky situation in the United States, that we were not in 20, 30, 40, and maybe even 50 years ago. But certainly during my lifetime, the United States, the history of the United States, and frankly, I would say since the time of President Richard Nixon, at no point has the United States been closer to a failed politics, which leads to more political violence and um, a, a very dangerous risk of civil war. And I hope I am not being chicken little running with my head cut off, because frankly, I have been talking about this stuff for 20 years. And only within the past few years have I been talking about the possibility of civil war. And frankly, I've only mentioned it so many times because I don't want to sound like Chicken Little. There is real danger right now of political dissolution in the United States. And to those who wish um, to avoid it, my strong recommendation is to pay attention to people who are not idiots. Unfortunately, many of our intellectuals are idiots. Um, and maybe the word idiot isn't the correct one. I'm copying Nassim Taleb. Maybe the word foolish is the correct one. But right now, there is a serious, serious danger of further political violence on the left. And as I have tried to explain to my dear friends on the right, political violence on the right will always be far more dangerous and a bigger source of worry than political violence on the left. Why? Because it is the people on the right who arm themselves and who competently wage campaigns of violence and murder and suppression and et cetera, et cetera. The people on the left do so incompetently, and whether incompetent stupidity is incompetent evil is worse than competent evil. You can have all sorts of intellectuals as intolerable. Yes, um, not intellectuals. Um, the what what political violence on the left achieves is political violence on the right. And political violence on the right will be more dangerous and will be worse than political violence on the left. That's, I mean, look at history. Um, yeah, exactly, Denise. The right is slower to react, but watch out when they get fed up. Yeah. Um, look, we are in a situation where our politics is devolving. The types of things that Gavin Newsom, governor of California, has been saying publicly are dangerous. The things many people on the left have been saying are dangerous. We need intelligent leadership. We need wise leadership. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of that. Certainly not on the left. Well, certainly not on in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, I mean, whether you can call them left or not is a whole other question. But in order to have a working political system, you need to have at least two working political parties. Whether we have even one is questionable. Obviously, there is no comparison. The Democratic Party is fundamentally broken. The institutions of the Democratic Party are fundamentally broken. I think I need Jacob's list of people who are not idiots ASAP. There are plenty of people who are not idiots. Although I can't fully endorse what they're saying, these are people who actually have some grasp of reality. Unfortunately, it's, I mean, so I'm thinking of people like Glenn Loury. Glenn Loury is a remarkably intelligent person, but he's also a remarkably confused person in many ways, because we live in a time. Glenn Loury here. So Glenn Loury and John McWhorter, the Glenn Show here, is a YouTube channel, and they're people, I would say, fundamentally of the right, intellectuals. Both have PhDs. Glenn is an economist of some note. He came up with the term social capital. John McWhorter is a linguist and a professor of American culture at NYU or Columbia. Coleman Hughes, a very young man, very, very wise for his age. Highly recommend a lot of the stuff he has to say. At the same time, there are many ways in which I disagree with these people, and many ways in which I think they're. But we need intellectuals who are not idiots. Ezra Klein is an idiot. Um, David Pakman is an idiot. Um, Kyle Kalinske is an idiot. Um, Unfortunately, I think Carl Benjamin has lost his mind. I have no clue what is going on with Tucker Carlson, but he used to be not the fire starter that he is. What's her name? What's her name? Megan Kelly. Very, very intelligent person. Frankly, Mark Halperin, I think, even Tim Poole, certainly James Lindsay. James Lindsay has been in many ways a a, a prophet. I would say even Doug Wilson to some extent. James White. I could name many people who are not complete idiots. But part of the problem, Carl Benjamin, I don't know if he's lost his mind. He's certainly not as reliable as he used to be. And part of that comes from having to, I mean, see, this is the thing. Part of the problem is we don't have, frankly, Barry Weiss's outfit has been better than the vast majority of them. But we don't have institutions where people are talking with each other intelligently, and his instincts about his own country, yes, but part of the problem is I don't think. First of all, his values are very different from mine. He believes in in basically a religious ethno state, and I don't. And I believe in American civil society. So that's part of the problem, which is one of the reasons he's actually far more pro-Israel than I am. Yeah, those people. Oh, but the, so I had a discussion with Coronius Focus many years ago, which I still think is one of the more important discussions I ever had. I am not against the state of Israel. I am a non-Zionist. I am not an anti-Zionist. In fact, I had a Muslim channel try to bring me on for my hot non-Zionist takes, and I told them I would not participate in anti-Zionism. But whatever. The back to Coronius Focus. One of the discussion, I had a very good discussion with a very intelligent person who was doing a lot of research and had put out, Coronius Focus put out a beautifully constructed series of videos about the biological significance and the biological significance of the birth control pill, and they don't get me started on Gedalia, on some Gedalia about not being a Zionist, please, because I could be taking this in a very different place on some Gedalia. But my discussion with Coronius Focus was, yes, this is very intelligent stuff that you are talking about. And My question is, why is it that the two of us are talking about things which should be obvious? And the our establishments are not talking about it. The people whose job it is to talk about this stuff. Let's get into the Tylenol stuff. The press release was not the press conference that Donald Trump had was not the type of thing I want to see. The response to it was absolutely horrific. I watched on a video that a pregnant OBGYN, she herself was a medical doctor. She was pregnant and she was popping Tylenol pills in order to prove Donald Trump wrong, that it is safe and effective. My God, how did we get here? I saw the video. I mean, I even checked to make sure that the video was. I thought I checked. I hope it's not true. Pregnant doctor Tylenol video. I hope it's not true, but I thought I saw on and I'm usually good about checking this stuff. Yeah, Michelle Wu and MD, like unless this is fake and they picked a name, like she did it herself, and apparently she's an actual doctor. I get wow, here in Los Angeles apparently. Not a gynecologist, but she's a gastroenterologist, and unless this is a faked video, but it doesn't appear to be. Like, why are we in this space? Why are we in this space? Like, if I have, from hearing out what people are talking about, it seems to me quite evident that if you are a woman who is pregnant and having pains, you should be talking to your doctor. And if you are having a good night, Toro Worldwide. You're and if you're having a fever, you should still talk to your doctor, but probably your doctor will tell you to take Tylenol. And taking a Tylenol to break a fever, it is not anything that the studies that we're talking about, autism, seem to be worried about, etc., etc., etc. But like, please, for the love of God, pregnant women know to avoid pretty much everything and anything if they can. Why would you take any over-the-counter medication unless you actually need it? Right? And this is the type of craziness that makes me go, our society is not functioning correctly. Our sense making apparatuses, mechanisms in our society, our distributed cognition is broken. And that leads to stupid suffering. I should be able to trust that by the time it gets to the President of the United States and the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Director of the National Institutes of Health, what they talk about should be something that is measured and reliable and circumspect and has been and not greatly controversial. And people should be able to trust their doctors. I've had people actually ask me, what do I do about the vaccine schedule for my kids? And I tell them, find yourself a doctor you can trust and trust that doctor. That's the best advice I think I can formulate. And anybody who tells you don't take the XYZ, like, are you a doctor? Like, there's a reason we have trained doctors. Like, credentials matter, expertise matters. And yes, our society is falling apart because our intellectuals are idiots. And that's a problem. And I don't see why more people don't see that. And my hope is that to the extent that we're developing a community here where we have open conversation and we have trust and we have people talking to each other, lo pashut, we can come to decisions, and there's a reason why I try to have the hierarchy that I do in our community. And it's the same thing with why I also sometimes do the types of things that people think is crazy, which is I set bright line borders and boundaries. We have to be able to make sense with each other, and we have to be able to come up with decisions, and we have to have lines of respect, and we have to be able to live together in community. And while it's okay and fine for us to be living in a sort of community online, ultimately it has to be a real community where people are living together and getting together and seeing each other and helping each other. And it's very nice that Chezi lives in Jerusalem and Yoav lives in Tel Aviv, and Yosef lives on the East Coast. I won't dox him further. But we have to have community. Real community together. In families. As I have always said, the metric I use for success is baby pictures. I want the people in my community to get married and have kids. That's success. And many of them are, thank God. But that's success. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on what's been going on. Um, I hate monologuing, um, talking by myself. Um, so, um, yeah. Okay, people, I am going to leave this going for a tiny bit longer in case anybody wants to say anything. And then I am probably going to go and try to be a tiny bit better of a person than I usually am. Yoav, it's
What?
almost 2 a.m.
It is. It is.
Your wife is sleeping. Why isn't her husband sleeping? What do you want to say? Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm adjusting my audio.
Aha.
Uh, please, that was a monologue that came from the heart. Can you just repeat the monologue now that you have rehearsed it? Uh, who is Ezra Klein? What have you got against him? Uh, just give the subject and make a statement about it. I mean, there was a list of people and marks given to people. Okay, I know what your opinion about all these people is already. What is the issue and what is your opinion about the issue?
Aha. So Ezra Klein is a young and foolish man who, for many years, I mean, when was the journalist? Let me see when journalist happened.
Sorry. Don't mention any people now. What is the issue?
The issue is our intellectuals are idiots.
Yes. In what way?
They we go to them for to talk about important things, and instead of talking about important things, they either talk about unimportant things, or worse yet, they spread misinformation, or in other ways cause foolishness and um, problems in society.
Okay. What was the wrong message about what issue?
So Ezra Klein, actually, the the I mean, he is one of the people who is preparing the United States, especially specifically the Democratic Party, to um, make very bad choices, which he should know better than to advocate, which can further degrade the political situation here in the United States.
Okay, so you say never mind the issue. The issue is not important. The revolution is important. What is his game plan? I mean, okay, so he's a fool, but he has a plan. What does he want to achieve?
Oh, he wants to achieve the revolution, but
Fine.
but but see, this is the thing for me. if he was actually working towards the revolution in an intelligent way, I would be less worried than the fact he's bad at going towards the revolution.
So it's going to fail. What is your problem?
My problem is that his failure is going to cause even more problems.
Yeah, but it's better than him succeeding.
No. If the communist utopia was possible, I would be perfectly happy with it.
Okay, given that it's not possible.
Yes.
I mean, I'm guessing from your word. I mean, you said there is a party trying to achieve a communist revolution in the United States,
Yes.
and it will not happen,
Correct.
and they're going to fail.
Correct. I've been saying this for 20 years.
And if it was possible to achieve communism, utopia, then you will be voting for them. But it's not possible, so you wish them to fail.
I don't know if I would be voting for them, but I wouldn't be as distressed as I am.
Okay, but it is not possible to achieve the communist utopia, not in the United States for sure. So they're going to fail, and we should be glad that they're going to fail. Again,
Correct.
what is the problem?
The problem is that their failure is going to be, as Jan God says, controlled demolition is an art. I am afraid where all the bits and pieces of this building that they're destroying will fall.
There's going to be a lot of chaos.
Yes.
Still better than them succeeding.
Maybe. What? Okay, so I've said this many times, and I'm not sure it gets through. I realize life has suffering in it. I just hate the stupid suffering. Like, okay, there's going to be suffering, but why do you have to? Why, like, I know you don't like examples, but I do. You know, if Stalin hadn't murdered millions of Ukrainians while trying to make his communist revolution happen, it would have been better.
Yeah, this is the Jordan Peterson main message.
Lysenkoism is dumber than just vanilla communism.
Fine. Okay. So, what reaction do you suggest for the good citizens of the United States, given the situation as it is?
It would be very, very nice if the Democrats could find smarter, more wise leaders than Ezra Klein.
Is he actually a leader or a mouthpiece?
Oh no, he's a leader. He is. If there's one person in the United States who is actually currently leading the Democratic Party, I would say it's Ezra Klein.
And you will never going to persuade him.
Oh no, I wouldn't even try.
And it has become so blatant that anybody except the usual 30% who cannot understand anything can see through it.
Say that again?
There's always in any poll, there is a 30% will get the answer wrong. Apart from those 30%, anybody can see through the current Democratic Party, and anybody can discern right from wrong at the moment. Is it a true statement?
Sorry, Chazi, check your messages. go ahead and ask me one more time. I was dealing with something. Sorry. I just asked the question one more time. Sorry.
No, I'm saying, with mentioning Tzom Gedalia, so
Yeah.
violence is not an option. Striking in conversation and convincing him as in following is not an option.
Correct.
I'm running out of option except just going back to sleep.
That is definitely a good option. My other option is to try to gather a community where we try to together understand things better than following along and listening to people like Ezra Klein.
But there's nothing here to understand. It's all plain as daylight.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I mean, we can close the stream now because it is late. But you can contribute more with your monologue if you elaborate on those issues, those chapters that are not obvious. Consulting a doctor when you're pregnant is the obvious part.
Correct.
Now let's go on with the conversation to the non-obvious parts.
See, I think actually the opposite of what you just said, because I think there are people like you, right, and Chezi and other people who I elevate to be leaders in our community, who I don't think I need to talk about the obvious things with them because it's obvious and they get it and I get it and we all get it. My hope is that we can include in our community people who can trust us enough to recognize when we say something that isn't obvious, that they should actually have some degree of faith in us, and that when we say something is obvious, they should also have some degree of faith in us. So, I mean, the goal of my community is to establish a secured distributed cognition, right? A network of people who can trust each other, to think with each other, to agree on things together. That's my goal.
That is actually Graham Grease's goal as well.
I know.
And I think Claire is a good node in that network. I think you have the connection to Claire I'm not joking, has expanded the node, the network quite significantly. Okay. So
Claire is definitely an interesting addition to the entire network. My hope is that people in our network know where to put her in that network.
Okay. Yes, Jon, good. I confirm I have met Robert Maxwell in person in the men's room. No
Who's
women
Robert
present.
Maxwell?
A certain dead celebrity.
Aha.
Father of.
Oh, Ghislaine. I see.
Yes.
Aha. Yeah. He was an interesting person. Lots of interesting people in the world.
Some of them dead.
Many of them dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything at the moment to contribute, so I will sign off.
Okay.
I should to be in the network.
Good night, Yoav. I think I am going to go ahead. I'm going to use. I started that before I said. I'm going to sign off as well. Good night, people, and remember the martyrs. The martyrs are incredibly important. Good night. I'm going to use host's prerogative to put the Reverend Parcells to bed because he does need to get up in the morning.
Sorry,
You are
Reverend. Thank
correct.
you.
But before he goes, I have a question. Let's say, God forbid, that I were to burn somebody at the stake for not being a Trinitarian. And I did not repent of that. Is that a salvation issue?
Sometimes Jacob takes
There's a
that devil's
proverb.
advocate thing too
Isn't there a
far.
proverb that says something like, "Don't answer a fool according to his folly."
But there's a proverb that says, answer a fool according to his folly.
There is. Exactly right. And I'm going to leave it to you guys to determine, which of those was applicable in this situation as I go. So, but anyhow, good.
Thank
It was
you,
good
Reverend.
to
Thank
chat
you.
with you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
The